Okay, so 3 reasons to buy a house now, Craig. I've got 3. You got 3. Give me your 3, and we'll see. We'll compare our 3 reasons.
Because you want to.
That's right. That's right.
It's a darn good deal.
So number 1, Craig. What do you think a good reason would be?
Home prices are still off of their highs.
Yeah, folks.
There's still good markets out
2006. Everyone knows we peaked, and we saw significant rundown in home values. Everyone that's listening to the show knows that story all too well, and we've seen some nice movement back, some steady appreciation as we've seen a healthy-ish economy, lower unemployment, and it's done exactly what we would have hoped. We just would have hoped it would have come sooner. So we've seen home values starting to go up with a little more velocity. But right now, it's still a fantastic time to get a great deal on a home. The issue we're hearing more of is a little less inventory. But don't sit on the sideline too long, because we do not see home values trending back the other direction anytime soon. I'm predicting continued momentum with modest appreciation into the foreseeable future. What do you think about that, Craig?
You know, I'm going to have to say that I don't know what's going to happen next year. I have a strong suspicion that we're going to see a little bit of a stalling period in the late part of 2015. So, depending on how severe that is, we'll see. But I'm putting this little prediction out there for our listeners.
What's that?
Next late summer, early fall, we're going to see a major correction in the market in general. I think that'll slow down house buying. I think it'll affect house prices. We'll leave that on the table.
You think they'll go back a little bit?
I do.
What's your year-over-year appreciation prognostication for now to next fall?
2 to 4%. I don't think it'll do a whole lot more than that.
I think that's a conservative number. That if at 4% it outpaces inflation, and that's above where it's historically trended. So I think it's a good. I'll agree that I think probably between 4 and 8% over the next 12 months is the aggregate appreciation nationally that we'll see, and I think that's a pretty conservative number. But that means that that $200,000 house is going to cost you, if it's 8%, it's going to cost you $16,000 more this time next year on the high end. If Craig's right, it's going to cost you $122,000 less. Because we're just good with math. Just kidding! It's going to cost you the same, and you think it's going to stall next year. 4% there. So that's one reason. Save yourself up to $16,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 by purchasing now instead of waiting till next year, and you've got that appreciation. What else, Craig? There's another thing that,
We do see interest rates continuing to rise. We expect them to continue to slightly go up. I don't think they're going to skyrocket, folks, but I do believe rates could potentially hit 5% before spring of next year. I don't know that it'll happen by the end of this year, but it very well could. It just depends on what happens with the Fed action. As they pull out, the reaction in the market's going to dictate a lot of that. But if rates hit 5% or greater this winter, or early spring next year, that's going to affect.
And it affects. Talk to our listeners real quickly about the real cost of, say, a percent move in interest rate to their buying power.
Sure. Well, if you've got an interest rate, let's just say right now you can take a rate of 4.25. We're going to use that, and then rates are at 5.25. That 1% increase on a typical average loan amount nationwide is over $100 a month. It's $100 to $120 a month. So and if you figure about $5 or so per thousand that you borrow, you're looking at $20,000 swing or more, $20,000 to $25,000 swing in price to get to that same payment. So in other words, if rates go up 5 to 5.25 from 4.25, you'd have to be able to buy that home for $20,000 to $25,000 less to keep your payment the same.
So understand, folks,
significant amount of money when you think about what 1 point does.
You double that up with the increase in the likely increase in home value this time next year or next year, and it starts to become a sizable amount of money that by sitting on the sidelines you may be having to invest in that same house. Also, another key piece we've seen over the last 3 years, our rental rates continue to rise, folks, and they continue to outpace significantly. They continue to outpace inflation. So your cost of living and renting continues to go up, and so it's something that you can keep paying the man, keep paying rent, and watch your investment not increase because you don't own it, or you can consider getting off the fence and buying it.